Welcome. You're looking at the space lobster that is currently eating the open source world. This is ClawdBot. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. So for the rest of this presentation, I'm just going to call it JeanClawd, because that's the name of the little ClawdBot that I created for myself. So in just 6 weeks, this project went from 0 to over 12,000 GitHub stars. And you might ask yourself, so why this explosion? So this project isn't just another web-based chatbot wrapper. It is a self-hosted, messaging native agent that lives directly inside the apps that you're using every day, like WhatsApp, Discord, or Slack. And the community is shipping nearly 30 pull requests a day. So they are not just building a bot, they are redefining the entire architecture of personal AI. Let's dive in. So, some call it the iPhone moment for personal AI. Why is a viral explosion? It's because ClawdBot, JeanClawd, finally solves the walled garden problems shown on the left. Right now, your AI is trapped. You have Siri, integrated but limited, or ChatGPT, brilliant but isolated in a browser tab. JeanClawd is the glue. It doesn't force you into a new interface. It pipes the LLMs directly into the protocol you already are using, like WhatsApp, Slack, GitHub, Spotify. And it is an iPhone moment because it stops asking you to visit the AI and it finally brings the AI into the context of your actual life. But to do this effectively, it requires a very specific architecture. So here is a solution. It's not another isolated app that you have to check. It's a sovereign agent that lives directly inside the native WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and it runs on your hardware. So whether it's a local Mac Mini M4 like mine, Linux, WSL2, you're not locked to a cloud deployment. You own the runtime and the data, and unlike passive chatbot that just waits for a prompt, it is proactive. It wakes up and messages you first when there is something you need to know. So how do we actually wire a local daemon to this global messaging network? Let's pop the hood. So how do we achieve that sovereignty? It works through this modular pipeline we call the triad architecture. First, on the left, you have the gateway. Think of this as your traffic controller running on port 18789. It is a persistent daemon that intercepts requests from your phone, standardizes them into JSON, and routes them forward. That data hits the agent, the brain. The best part for us, developer, it's pluggable. You're not just locked to one ecosystem. You can swap between Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, Gemini CLI, or run a local model on your own model if you want to. Finally, the agent triggers skills, the ends. This is the execution layer where the AI stops just talking and starts doing, whether that's firing off a web search or controlling your home automation. Now that you see the flow, let's look at the specific platforms this gateway can actually hook into. So now understanding the gateway architecture is one thing, but the real shift is where the gateway connects. And chatbot is not a destination app, even though you can have it open in, it has its own web interface. You can directly connect it to a library like Bailey's for WhatsApp, Grammy for Telegram, and Discord.js. So it means zero friction. You're coding in Discord. JeanClawd is there, answering emails in Slack via Bolt. JeanClawd is there too. Because it lives in your messaging layer, it has a unique ability to text you first, which is essential for the proactive features we're going to discuss next. So you've got the messaging plumbing connected. Now, here is why JeanClawd is a leap forward from standard chatbots. First, total recall. Unlike a standard chat window that eventually forgets, JeanClawd maintains a persistent local markdown vault. It stores memories in files you own, fully compatible with Obsidian. Second, proactively. It doesn't just wait for a prompt, it runs on trigger, meaning it can wake up at 8 a.m. to brief you or proactively alert you if a server goes down. And finally, evolution. If you request a capability it lacks, JeanClawd can actually just write its own code to generate the skills on the fly. It sounds wild in theory, but wait until you see what this actually looks like in practice. So let's move on from theory to execution. Take a look at the example on the left. The user AJ, he didn't just use CloudBot to search for car. He added scour Reddit for market data, contact dealer directly, and actually negotiate the final price. He bought a vehicle entirely through his agent. Then there is the dream setup for us sysadmin. Henry runs a swarm of agents across GCP and Raspberry Pis that literally SSH into each other to debug errors while he sleeps. From fighting insurance disputes to automating groceries, this isn't just a chatbot. It's a workforce. And this utility explains the explosive growth number we are seeing in the next slide. So that kind of real-world magic trigger massive velocity. Just look at the trajectory since the launch in December of 2025. CloudBot didn't just grow, it exploded, hitting 12,000 GitHub stars in just 6 weeks. But this isn't just a single repo, it's a full-blown ecosystem. There are 16 different repositories, including the Lobster workflow shell and Cloud Hub, the dedicated registry for sharing and discovering new skills. The community is already truly global, from buzzing Discord to massive chapter of developers in Japan on Kita. The movement is huge. But who's actually steering this ship? Let's meet the team. So that rapid velocity didn't happen in a vacuum. It's driven by serious engineering pedigree. Leading the charge is Peter Steinberger. After 13 years shipping enterprise-grade software at PS PDF Kit, he actually came out of retirement specifically to, quote, mess with AI, bringing that native app polish to the agent world. He's backed by key collaborator Mario Deschner, who architected the Pi agent runtime and locks down the pen testing and security. But this is not a closed shop. With over 256 contributors and 32 releases already, this is a community-led juggernaut. It's this unique blend of veteran leadership and open source volume that positions CloudBot perfectly against the corporate giants. So where exactly does CloudBot land on the current AI landscape? Down here in the walled garden, you have Siri and Google, limited cloud-locked chatbots. On the flip side, you have tools like AutoGPT, which offers autonomy but are often hard to steer or prone to runaway loops. Open Interpreter gets us closer with local code execution, but it creates a silo. It lacks the social layer. So CloudBot claims the unique top right quadrant. It's sovereign, running locally on your hardware, but it's also messaging native. It doesn't just wait for a terminal command, like Claude Code. It lives in your WhatsApp, Telegram, proactively reaching out to you just like a human assistant would. But running your own sovereign infrastructure does change the economics. Let's break down the cost. Now let's talk about the economics of autonomy. The software itself, completely free. It's MIT licensed. You pay $0 for the code. But unless you're running fully locally, you will have infrastructure cost. A standard setup is just $5 a month for a VPS. You can get one on Hetzner, for instance, plus your AI subscription. And let's assume you're already paying for that separately. Just keep an eye on usage. We've seen reviewers like Federico, who burned 180 million tokens in 1 week in A/B testing. That is some serious compute. If that scares you, remember you can always swap in a local LLM for zero API cost if your hardware can handle it. That's why some people are quite enthusiastic about the Mac Mini M4, I guess. So the financial barrier is flexible, but what about the technical barrier? Let's look at the friction next. So let's drop the hype for a second and look at the warning labels. CloudBot is not a polished consumer app yet. It's a developer's power tool. This isn't plug and play. It's essentially plug and debug in the terminal, so be prepared to spend a few hours on setup. You also need 24/7 infrastructure, like a VPS or a dedicated Mac Mini. Because if the host sleeps, your agent goes offline. Remember, you are the sysadmin now. That means you own the security, the sandboxing, and the API keys. And a critical heads up. Use a dedicated phone number for WhatsApp, or you will risk to get your main account banned by Meta's automated system. Still not scared of? Well, good. Then let's look at how to get this running. So despite the friction we just discussed, the actual Hello World moment is surprisingly standard. If you've used NPM, you're already halfway there. You just need Node 22 plus the global package, run Claude init, and watch the gateway spin up locally on port 18789. But step 3 is where the magic happens. You don't paste API keys into web form. You get a QR code right in your terminal. Scan that with WhatsApp or Telegram, and you've immediately bridged your local hardware to the global messaging network. You have officially begun sovereignty. Now that the daemon is running, let's look at the bleeding edge capabilities, and you can unlock just by clicking on this QR code. Well, this is your gateway. It links directly to the GitHub repo, the documentation, and the Discord, where thousands of developers are already hacking at it. So, as Federico Vitici perfectly puts it, this is the ultimate expression of malleable software. It's adaptive, personalized, and most importantly, it's fully yours. So, ready to join the crustacean resistance?